Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining the Redington and MobileIron session. We have Mohan, our pre-sales consultant from Redington Value, who will be running throughout the session. We will provide you all the information required, and you can go to the Q&A button. So at the end of the session, we will answer all your questions. Mohan, over to you.
Thank you, Raka. Thank you everyone for joining today's session. Today we're gonna see how to access the email securely outside the corporate network. So email is a crucial part nowadays, and everyone is communicating through email. And with this crisis, people are working from home, and their main part of communication will be on the email. So our organization will make sure the whatever the communication happening through email is secure, and whatever the document shared between email is secure enough. MobileIron is a platform where it helps you to manage the enterprise or the user-owned devices, mainly for iOS, Android, and Windows. And MobileIron has a centralized policy engine, and with a single dashboard, you can manage multiple operating system, and you can have compliance policy set for each operating system as per the requirement. Traditionally, everyone were using their traditionally it was like two model. One is like people using their laptop connecting to their internal network, and they have organization having their own on-prem infrastructure. Nowadays, everyone having their own mobile devices like iPad, iPhones, Android devices, Windows devices, and even the organization moving everything from on-premises to cloud. So MobileIron is the platform which is helping to secure both the end user accessing their own devices, whether irrespective of operating system, as well as ensuring organization how they are securing data, how they are controlling access to the users for their corporate resources, which is on the cloud, whether it is a Salesforce, Drive, OneBox, Google Drive, or Office 365. If you see MobileIron, they have almost 53 total patents. So the way they have this compliance, the way they manage the mobile devices, the way they configure App Connect. So they have their own patents, and these are the certifications used within the MobileIron. Okay. So as I mentioned, so traditionally the IT department they are more concerned on controlling their on-prem or within their perimeter networks. They have a firewall, they have VPN, so that user outside will connect to the VPN to get access to their internal resources. Now, when it's moving to the cloud and user using their own devices, the IT needs to have more control, like who needs to access which kind of data on the cloud, or who needs to be given access to the email, for an example. So these kind of control, MobileIron as a platform helps the organization to achieve it. This is the basic architecture of MobileIron. So we have two servers in the DMZ. One, let me. One is the UEM console and other is the Sentry. UEM console is the heart of the solution where it is used to manage devices, policies, configuration, and everything respect to the operating system of mobile devices. And Sentry is just a gateway or a proxy which will check for authorization and give access to the backend resources. Access is a platform where you can define control for user accessing any resources on the cloud like Salesforce, SAP, or Office 365. So whenever a device is managed, a logical container will be created for iOS and Android. So anything happens inside the container stays inside the container. So the user cannot able to move anything from the container to outside the container. For an example, the user receives an email with an attachment. He cannot able to move that attachment to a personal share folder or a personal WhatsApp or even personal email address. And these are the various products from MobileIron. So I can we'll get into briefly one by one in later. Okay. So these are the various products. Email Plus is the application used to for managing and emails for iOS and Android. Docs at work, web at work, and help at work. So user always have this concern when you put something on their user own device. So they'll have concern like whether the admin is monitoring the call logs, whether they can able to access the photos, media stored in as personal devices. So MobileIron ensuring something like privacy is like very important. Whatever MobileIron doing, it's only to secure and safeguard the corporate data. They don't even they cannot even see any personal data which is there in the personal devices. So this is information which will ensure the user to comfortably put MobileIron on their mobile so that they can access their corporate resources. This information cannot be tampered or this cannot be edited. So this is by default will be presented for the user owned devices. So as you see, it is clearly mentioned, MobileIron cannot able to see any of the personal email, text messages, personal contacts, photos, videos, or even a voicemail. There is something called App Connect. App Connect is a terminology used by the MobileIron. So it's a SDK. It's mainly used for the in-house application. If company is having their own application, so to have this App Connect enabled, there is SDK available in MobileIron. So they'll have to wrap it, and they can able to distribute using their enterprise app store. Enabling a in-house application for App Connect gives DLP features like they cannot able to. I can show you in the next slide. So this is the life cycle of the app to be wrapped and to be distributed. And these are the features the in-house application will get once it is App Connect enabled. So they can control with copy paste, anything copied inside the container cannot be pasted outside the container, or they can even enforce anything copied inside the application cannot be pasted outside the application. And they can even block open in control. So any attachment or any PDF or document opened within the application cannot be opened or shared through any third-party application. And you can even block screen capture for Android, and you can also have a personal passcode for opening a particular in-house application. And there is an option to integrate or link this secure passcode with the device face ID or fingerprint. Okay. So this App Connect can be enabled only if the app is developed in-house. For an example, any application which is available on the App Store like LinkedIn, Google Drive, OneDrive, SharePoint, all these things we cannot enable App Connect because those will be considered as a third party. Any third party application cannot be wrapped or cannot be made as App Connect. And this is our main email plus application. So with this you will have a native like app experience, and you can have your own email contacts, calendar, task synced within the corporate database. And all application provided by MobileIron, the email plus docs at work, web at work, are all by default App Connect enabled. When I say App Connect enabled, you will have the DLP features, you will have the copy paste control, you will have the open in control, and you will have the print control. You can have screen capture control, and you can also have a secure passcode for opening the particular email plus application. So this is how it looks like on the Android. I can able to show you a demo once I finish with my slides. And you can, like I said, you can have a secure passcode for opening this application, and it has an independent encryption. So anything we put inside the container, it's already encrypted. And Email Plus have a independent encryption apart from other application inside the container. So the reason behind is even if you have any attachment or anything copied inside the Email Plus, you can block it or you can have a control to paste it or move the attachment outside the email plus application. The other thing is docs at work. Docs at work, it serves two purposes. One is by default, iOS, you can able to open any type of attachment natively. But for Android, you'll have to have a document viewer. For an example, you need to have a PDF viewer to open any PDF attachment in the email. So docs at work for Android will serve you to open any attachment, as well as it also connects to your backend repository, whether you have a local file share or you have a cloud SharePoint or local SharePoint, you can simply connect and the user can able to access those files and folders securely by authenticating themselves with their existing LDAP or even ADFS credentials. And since it's App Connect enabled app, you can have different policies and different repositories distributed for the different users based on their roles. Web at work, if the user doesn't want to access their email plus or the native email, Web at work, it's again an App Connect enabled product from MobileIron. They can always use Web at work for opening the Outlook web access. Web at work, again, it's a containerized and it has its own DLP features. You cannot have copy any content within web at work and paste outside the container. And you can also enable a Power App VPN. If your Exchange server or ActiveSync requires a particular network connectivity to reach the backend server, you can have an individual VPN created for this browser whenever the user tries to open Outlook web access. So that particular VPN will be triggered to get you access to the backend server. And since it's App Connect enabled, you'll have the same features like DLP, data encryption, and secure passcode authentication. Okay, so this is the UEM client, and whenever I open the UEM client, it will ask for the authentication. Since I've already registered and integrated with my fingerprint, it is asking for authentication to proceed. So this will show the devices in compliance, and it is connected to the MobileIron cloud, and you can always check for the updates. Let me try and close this. So this is the first time I'm opening the email plus. It will ask for the authentication and it will take me to the email. So this looks like a native email like experience. You have the mail, you have the calendar, you have the contact synced, and you have the notes, task, and you have your own settings. So these settings, the user have their own settings, or the settings can be enforced by the admin itself. Settings like you can sync email for the last 3 days or even a month or a week. Those things you can enforce it. This, for an example, this is the attachment, and there is no option to open this attachment in anywhere. So you can restrict that kind of sharing, and the only way to share it, take another mobile, get a photo, and you can able to share it. And this is the docs at work. So this docs at work, again, it can connect to the local repository. Currently there is it's not configured, but once it is there, you can add to your cloud or even your local cloud storage, Dropbox, network, local file share, or even the SharePoint, whether it is a cloud SharePoint or the local SharePoint. And this is the secure browser. So every time you open any application from MobileIron, it will get authorized, and then it will take you to the backend server. So you can see like it's looks like a native like experience. You can open any browser-based application if it's browser supported for the mobile, and you can access to any or backend corporate resources from outside. So next, how the MobileIron will help you from securing the Office 365. So with the native integration, MobileIron can able to distribute the Microsoft Office 365 application securely. We have our own app store. So when we say the securely, what we can do is we can convert unmanaged app into managed app. When we manage app through MobileIron, you can always have the compliance policy. If, for an example, if the device is jailbroken or if the device is rooted, or even if the device is not connecting to MobileIron server for X number of days, you can simply revoke access to the corporate data. And you can also have native operating system controls like authentication, single sign-on, and you can also integrate the authorization with your EDFS or LDAP. And you can also, like, if the device is reported stolen or someone gains access, you can also do a selective wipe. Selective wipe only wipes out a particular application data. For an example, Outlook, it's already available in Google Play and Apple App Store. But if you want to wipe the Outlook configuration, you can always, if the configuration managed by the MobileIron, you can only send a selective wipe command and it will only wipe the email configuration. And you can also have app control. If you're blacklisting a couple of applications like Anonymizer or VPN, if any of these applications are installed on the devices, you can always have a compliance policy triggered saying like if this application is installed, they cannot able to access the corporate email or any of the corporate application. And this is how the active sync traffic will work. So whenever a device tries to connect to the Office 365, it will check for the device certificate. This is the device. It will check for the device certificate and it will reach to the Sentry through a ADFS proxy, and it will get authenticated from the ADFS server. Then it will send confirmation saying it's okay to proceed. Then Office 365 will give you the required access by the user. This is the flow of securing the active sync traffic. And this is how the app traffic will work. So any application, Office 365 application like PowerPoint, Word, or Excel, or Note is open, it will the traffic will reach the Sentry, which is on-prem, and it will reach the backend ADFS server, get it authenticated, send to the Office 365 on the cloud, get as authorization over there, and again the traffic will go back to Sentry and to the device. So this way, the MobileIron will ensure like the device is authorized and authenticated to have the right data required by the users. Any unauthorized device, if the device is not managed, if the device is not registered with MobileIron, so what will happen if they try to access anything inside the Office 365 or any data behind Office 365? So it will go and check the ADFS server, and ADFS will respond saying it is not authenticated using the Sentry. It is not reaching the Sentry, because when you push this application through MobileIron, all the communication from the device will always reach Sentry. Unauthorized device, when it tries to reach Sentry, it will say this device is not authorized, there is no certificate matching, and the user it's not registered, so it will block access to the Sentry. The moment unauthorized device try to connect, it will block the access and they cannot able to get any data out of their Office 365. So how the distribution of apps is secured using MobileIron? So the IT will able to distribute the selective Office 365 application based on the roles and responsibility of the user. And MobileIron has its own security model. It has its own app store for iOS as well as Android. So based on the role, you can segregate application and push it to a different LDAP group. For an example, you can push PowerPoint or publisher application to the marketing or HR team, and you can always push the Visio and other application to the technical team. And you'll have a native email also. So many organization people are used to the native email which comes with iOS and Android. You can also push only the configuration, but you can still restrict the attachment. Like if the people are using native email, they cannot have the attachment delivered. That kind of control you can have, but you cannot have or enforce the DLP on the native email on the iOS and Android. So because the native email on the iOS and Android, it's not App Connect, so you cannot enforce a third-party application to be App Connect enabled, or you cannot enforce DLP on a third-party application. So how this protects the data at rest. So these are the IT requirements for the authentication, authorization, configuration, and encryption. So when I say encryption, all MobileIron pushed managed application will be placed within a container which is already encrypted, and the email plus which is having an independent encryption, so you can ensure the data even at rest it is secured. And you also have a secure access control for accessing the Office 365 data using MobileIron Access. So with MobileIron Sentry, you will have a two purpose. One is the active sync, and which is the email, and other is the app tunnel. So active sync uses for the email plus even for the native email to sync with, instead of communicating directly to the 365 active sync server, it will reach Sentry for the active sync information, and Sentry will take securely to the backend Office 365. And other use of the Sentry is make it as app tunnel. App tunnel, when you say app tunnel, this will act as a VPN connectivity from the device to the backend server. For an example, if the user wants to use the Outlook application instead of native email or email plus, they can always use Outlook with MobileIron tunnel enabled and connect to the backend resources. And Office 365 access will be always gets authenticated using ADFS or even the local LDAP. Okay, this is it from me. I'm done. If you have any questions, you can post it on the Q&A, and I'm happy to answer it. Ragda, we have any questions?
And thank you everyone for your time. We hope we have delivered everything you are looking for, and we will be also sending the recording session to your email ID with the contact details. So you can write back to us if you have any more questions. Thank you and have a great day ahead.